皆さん、いつも見てくださってありがとうございます。KachokTVのジルです。現在は世界遺産ユネスコヘリテージの白川郷に来ておりまして、実はですね、いつもお世話になっているカメラマンの陽介さんの出身地である高山に泊まっておりまして、高山からここにやってきました。で、ここはですね、本当にすごくもう歴史のある素敵な景色が見られるスポットがたくさんあって、すごく素敵な場所で、ここではですね、また外国の方にインタビューしていきます。皆さんもぜひ一緒に楽しんでいただければと思います。My name is Christina. What are your names?
I'm Nina.
Ava.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from Ireland.
I'm from Germany.
So how did you end up here in Takayama?
Well, we're
Shirakawa-go.
yeah. Well, we're studying here in Japan. We're exchange students, and now we're on a little road trip. And I keep following Nina on a road trip. She did the whole plan. So.
So what is your plan?
To go just around here, the mountains and stuff. And today we're gonna go to the ocean. I forgot the name of the city, honestly.
But yeah, it's very pretty. Yeah, it's very different from the city we're used to in Kyoto. It's so peaceful and quiet here.
And
So where are you
colder.
staying?
We're just doing a road trip. We're staying in our car, traveling around. So yes,
Oh, that's so cool. Wow.
yeah, sleep in the car.
So how long
Yeah.
have you been on this road trip?
I was just
Just started.
yesterday.
This is our second day. So.
Yeah.
Second day?
Yeah.
Wow. And how long is it in total?
Well, I'm only on it for half the trips. I'm here till Sunday, but you're here
Yeah,
2 weeks.
10 days.
2 weeks? 10
Yes.
days?
Nice.
Oh, that's really cool. So how long have you been in Japan already?
5 months now.
Yeah,
5 months. Yeah, 5 months.
Yeah.
Just past 5 months now. Yeah. So yeah.
And you're studying at Kyoto
University.
Like,
Yes. Kyoto University. Yeah, Kyodai.
Kyodai?
Yes.
What are you studying?
Biology.
Biology?
Political science.
Oh.
So very different.
Yeah.
So what made you come to Japan for an exchange program?
Well, for me, it's other side of the world from Ireland, and I kind of wanted to I don't know, just go somewhere completely different, and the culture is so different, and the landscape as well. And I've just been so shocked at how amazingly beautiful it is. As well, usually when I travel, Ireland is so green, and when I travel to different countries, it's like, oh, it's not as green, I miss home. But here, it's so green and beautiful, the forests and stuff. It really reminds me of home. So yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to discover the culture because I knew it was so different from all I knew in Germany. So yeah.
So what did you know about Japan? What kind of expectations or image of Japan did you have before coming here?
I knew the food was good. That was one of the main ones.
And
I
like
love Japanese
Ghibli
food.
movie informations.
What
Yeah.
is your favorite?
Oh, Princess Mononoke.
Castle in the Sky.
Oh,
Yeah, I love
that's
that
true.
one.
Both. Yeah. So, and after actually coming here and living here for a while, are there some parts of the Japanese culture that really impress you, or that you find very interesting? Kind of.
Ooh.
Yeah. I like the connection to nature they have, like with all the
Oh.
shrines and temples and like the spirituality all the time.
Yeah,
very
I think
beautiful.
Shinto is very beautiful. Like coming from a very Catholic country, it's very nice to see different sort of religions that are connected to the nature
Yeah.
and stuff. It's very beautiful. I really like that.
Yeah.
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 Also, how polite everybody is
Yeah.
here. I'm
Yeah.
still not used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Well,
cool.
what parts of Japanese life? Not what should I say? When do you find the politeness of the Japanese people? Can you give some examples?
I suppose when you enter into a building, it's always welcome and thank you for coming. It's,
bowing.
always bowing and stuff. That's something that does happen. I've got used to that now and stuff. It's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
nobody
a
does
lot
that
of
back home.
thank you.
a lot of thank yous. Yeah, a lot of formalities, which is very.
Yeah.
I think it's very cool.
Have you actually gone home after staying here in Japan?
Not yet. No. Yeah.
So,
For me, it was when I would go home, I would always keep on
Yeah.
going
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah. That's gonna be it.
これが可愛いひまわり。ひまわりが可愛い。Is there anything else that you find very different from your home countries?
What really shocked me was that you're not supposed to walk and eat at the same time here.
Oh, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very
Yeah.
took some getting used to.
Yeah. I was surprised at all the like the elderly here and stuff. There's a lot of elderly people still working in small jobs and stuff.
Mm.
And then
Even
going
like
from
here, right?
Yeah, even
Yeah.
here.
On the
And
parking lot, there's so many people.
yeah, so many jobs I didn't think they're just like little jobs I didn't think you would need someone for, but it's very cool that they have them. But also like you can really see how the population is declining in like the villages and stuff. I was very shocked by that. 'Cause in the city you don't notice it as much, but like just traveling around, we've gone to small villages and it seems very deserted almost. Sometimes it's very, very different from home and like very
Yes.
unexpected.
Yeah, lots of young people they're moving to the big cities,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, yes.
But I feel like it's everywhere like that. Like that.
Yeah, I
True,
feel like
yeah.
here you
People are-
see it just very
It's
strongly.
I think I see it more than back home it's a very
Yeah.
small country, but this is the first
Yeah.
time I've actually seen it in like action and stuff. So yeah.
So, and this is the last question. Are there any things that you can find in Japan and you don't have them back home?
Oh, the vending machines everywhere.
Vending machines, yes, yeah, that's one
Yeah,
thing.
man.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss like going to the middle of nowhere and then being like, oh, I wish I had a drink, and there's
Yeah.
oh, it's a vending machine just there. Yeah, definitely that. What else?
Oh god. Cheap restaurants. It's so expensive to go
Yeah,
eating at
Europe's
home.
so
man.
expensive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss that so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back home and spend so much money to eat out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, again, like seeing all the temples and like the torii gates and stuff. Like, there's not that much.
Yeah, and it's just so many sacred places everywhere.
Yeah. It's very cool to see. I don't see that much back home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. And this is the last question. Why did you decide to come here to Shirakawa-go?
We saw a picture of the village and I thought it was really cool. It's something I haven't seen before. Since we wanted to get like a different sort of view from being in the city all the time, I thought it was like the exact opposite. So
Yeah.
I want to get the whole view of Japan. You know,
What is your impression of this place?
it's so cool. I'm fascinated by
Yeah.
the buildings and stuff. We were just talking about like how they like would work in the winter and in the summer and stuff, and how they're built and stuff. I think it's very cool.
Yeah.
The architecture of it all.
Yeah. And it doesn't look as touristy as I expected it to be. Yeah. But
Yeah.
maybe because it's early in the morning.
Yeah, true. But yeah, it's very cool. Yeah.
Have you gone to any of the museums here?
Not yet.
No.
We're planning on those. So
Mm.
yes.
So what have you already seen?
Just walking around.
Just walking around. Yeah. I just like walking around, getting a feel for the area and
Yeah.
see what it's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine what it's like to like live here. I'm like, oh wow, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fascinating. Yeah, I think it's really cool how everyone. I've noticed this as well. Is that a lot of people bring their dogs on them on these little trips. Because I said I have a little dog, Chihuahua, back home. I miss him so much. And like I see everyone they have them in like these prams and they're like I saw someone having like a baby carrier with a dog in it. And I was like, oh, that's so cute.
You also have like a tiny dog.
That's
here,
actually my
right?
dog. Yeah, I miss my dog. So yeah.
Okay. All right, it was really nice.
Yes,
talking
thank you
to
so
you. You're
much.
so
Yeah,
nice
thank
and
you.
friendly.
No worries, thank you so much.
もう本当に映画でしか見られないような景色です。わあ、すごい。My name is Christina. What is your name?
Allison.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm from the UK originally.
UK?
Yeah.
And how did you end up here in Shirakawa-go?
I've lived in Japan 34 years. And
Senpai.
yeah. And I came here about 30 years ago. And I'm going to be teaching a course at university in Nagoya next week.
Wow.
So I just took a kind of side trip to revisit
Wow.
the place I came like 30 years ago.
I didn't expect that. We will find someone who's been living in Japan for such a long time.
Yeah.
Tell me your story. How did you come here?
Well, I came on the JET program in 1989, and I was positioned in Fukushima. And we had a conference every year in Kobe. And so a friend of mine just kind of got on a train and where should we go? And we ended up here. And so I thought, well, as kind of a, side trip this time, I'll come visit again. Yeah. But I've been teaching and living in Japan for 34 years.
So why did you decide at some point, like what made you decide to stay in Japan for longer?
I think it was just the excitement every day I felt of being in a different culture. And however much you learn about Japanese culture, it's so deep and rich that even after 34 years, there's still things I don't know. Many things I do know, very familiar. But there's always something you don't know and always something you can look into and learn more about.
what are some of the things that fascinate you about Japanese culture?
I mean, I suppose the richness. Yeah. So I did like ikebana for many, many years. But even then, I've only just touched the surface, you know. To become a master or a teacher in any of these areas, you have to keep going deeper and deeper. But I'm afraid that I teach young Japanese university students, and they hardly know about Japanese culture. And to me, that's really sad. They, you know, are into Korean pop culture or something else. And I have to teach them about the meaning of, like, for example, New Year's food or sechi or something. They have no idea what the mame or the ebi means.
Oh, so I suppose you speak Japanese
Yeah.
like, maybe better than Japanese people do. don't
Some
you?
people say that. my husband makes mistakes all the time, and I'm like, no, you don't say that.
So he's Japanese.
Yes. So like we live in a machi. So our main office is called the Yakuba, but he calls it the Shiaksho, which is wrong. You know, that's for like a city, right? So this week I said, hey, we got to go to the Yakuba, and he's like, the Shiaksho, and I'm like, no, the Yakuba. Because we just moved there 4 years ago. Yeah.
So how do you find, what is the difference between marrying Japanese and non-Japanese
Well,
people?
both my husbands are Japanese, so I can't
Okay.
really compare. But one for like 23 years and one now for 4 years. So yeah, it's still interesting.
But I don't know, like maybe you don't even remember anymore how is it like to be like with people in your country, but can you give like some examples of cultural difference in terms of like family relationships?
Yeah, I think sometimes Japanese people can feel a bit cool and unemotional and kind of switch off. And I felt that recently a little bit, moving places within Japan. People seem really friendly at first, but they don't sort of come through and build on those relationships in a way. They become an acquaintance, but then always kind of an acquaintance. It's hard to develop those really deeper relationships. Yeah. I mean, I suppose in any place it's maybe the same, you know.
In a way, but kind of different. I feel like in Japan people keep more distance.
Yeah.
They try not to disturb you.
Yeah. But that's good in a way. I mean, who wants like emotional people in their face all the time, you know?
Yeah, that's also
They're not
hard.
pushy, yeah. And because I've been here so long, a lot of my personal traits, like my work ethic, is totally Japanese. Yeah, I've only ever worked in Japan, so like working long hours or going way and beyond what would normally be expected is just normal to me. Yeah.
Would you say that after living in Japan for such a long time, you changed and you became more Japanized?
Yeah, I think I'm a much calmer person. Yeah, and maybe I'm a bit cooler towards my family as well.
Than you used to be before.
Maybe. Yeah, perhaps.
So I've been living here for like 11 years. I feel like I did change a lot. Maybe I became more introverted.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and thinking about like others people more than I used to before. But it's also like it changes with age as well, of course. Yeah. So, and talking like going back to Ikebana, you mentioned that there are so many things that you need, like so many, even if you study it for a long time, there's still like so many details that you need to know. What are some things about Ikebana that way?
For me, I was doing Ryuseiha, which is one of the more modern types of Ikebana. And they're embracing also using new materials. Like they'll use like wire, or like they'll use like CDs. This was years ago now, it dates me, you know, in the flower arranging, and they would use like vegetables. And so it's like you can really do anything. Like the basic aesthetic is the traditional aesthetic, but you can use any materials, and so that excites me. because you're not just reproducing a traditional idea, but you can bring and combine your own ideas.
But you need to know the rules how to combine it.
Yeah, I think the positioning of items is still probably the same, but those items maybe have changed a little bit. Yeah, it's really interesting. And if you go to the exhibitions, they have these huge, like, you know, exhibits and just amazing.
So how is it like to teach Japanese students?
Well, I've only taught really Japanese students for 34 years, so yeah, they can be a bit shy, but hopefully that's changing a bit. It's interesting. I thought they would, like 30 years ago, when we brought in, you know, more intensive English education, people would change, but it hasn't actually changed that much. You know, you still got I joke with my husband, you still get the person saying, I don't English, you know. It's like, okay, like 30 years ago they said, I don't English. Like, at least now they could say, I don't speak English, you know. So sometimes I feel like we haven't really come on that much. Still, I suppose because of the rich culture and there isn't a necessity to use English at all, that maybe that will never change. But like today on the bus coming up here, the driver like spoke in Japanese, and then he spoke in English, and then he spoke in Chinese, just to tell everybody the announcements. And I thought, yeah, this is like what I imagine may happen somewhere. But I don't know, like you can tell people like you know, English opens up a world for you, but until they realize that themselves, they're not going to be motivated to put in the time.
Yeah, I think that also Japanese economy is big, so like the country is basically can be run by its own almost.
Yeah.
So there are lots of jobs that don't require it. So
No.
until that changes, probably. Yeah.
It's going to be a question that keeps going on, and thank goodness it keeps us in jobs teaching English, so it's not such a bad thing.
So how is Shirakawa go? How do you like it?
Well,
Where have you gone already?
so it's funny, like I arrived in Takami yesterday and I went to the smaller Hidano Sato, and I thought that was where I went 30 years ago. But when I got there, I'm like, no, this is not where I went. It's so small. And I thought, crumbs, like we must have come here. And so I thought, okay, today I'll come here, and this afternoon I'll go back down to Nagoya. But it's funny how in your memory I thought it was so close to Takayama, but actually we must have like got the bus up here.
Yeah,
and
it takes time.
I remember we just arrived in Takayama and we didn't book any accommodation, and they were like, oh, maybe the hotels are full, but there's a temple you can stay at. And we were like, yeah, whatever, you know, like this was before internet, before like, and also we were just like traveling around, you know, ad lib. So I wonder how we got up here and how we got back, but we did it in those days.
But that's so cool, like, to stay in a temple. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, what do you think makes this place special?
I think the scale here, and I think the attention to detail, keeping it very authentic. I think that's maybe the two keys. I mean, obviously registering it as a World Heritage Site is important, but I think, you know, if you knew about it, people would come anyway, because it's just so amazing. Yeah. So it's nice to sort of see it all again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
It was so
you.
nice talking to you.
You're
so
welcome.
friendly.
Side trip this time. Side trip this time.
皆さん見てください、この景色すごく綺麗です。ではこんな綺麗な出会い橋っていうスポットで今回の動画を終わらせたいと思います。皆さんどうでしたか？ぜひコメントで何かを書いてくださいよ。あと次回の動画を見逃さないようにぜひベルボタン、通知ボタンを押してくださいね。チャンネル登録までしない方はチャンネル登録、インスタ、ツイッターフォローよろしくお願いします。じゃあまたねー。またねってまたね。